He died with a secret so powerful it could have destroyed Hollywood itself. And now, years after his passing, the truth he tried to bury has finally erupted into daylight. A truth written across 60 years of forbidden journals, sealed until every person who could be hurt was gone. Those pages reveal not just betrayal, not just heartbreak, but the one man Tab Hunter loved, and the one man he hated more than anyone who ever lived. What you're about to hear is not gossip, not rumor, not speculation. It is the story as Tab Hunter himself wrote it. The pain, the lies, the terror, and the name of the man who shattered him. A name so shocking you may actually gasp. July 8th, 2018, Santa Barbara, California. Tab Hunter, 86 years old, the blonde heartthrob of the 1950s, dies quietly of a heart attack. The obituaries are gentle. They call him a teen idol, a golden age sweetheart, a man born for the camera, but the obituaries leave out the one truth that governed his entire life. Tab Hunter was gay, and that secret nearly destroyed him. His partner of 35 years, Alan Glazer, inherited everything: the home, the memories, and the leather-bound journals Tab kept for more than 6 decades. Inside them were the pieces of a man the public never knew: his fears, his desires, his shame, his fury, his unbearable loneliness. Before his death, Tab made Alan promise one thing: wait until everyone from my era is gone. Then, if it still matters, let the world know who I really was. 6 years passed. By 2024, the last of the old Hollywood generation had faded. Only then did Alan dare open the journals. Only then did he release their contents. What he revealed was devastating. The story of a man forced to live 2 completely separate lives: the public Tab Hunter, the perfect all-American fantasy, and the private Arthur Kelm, a terrified young gay man trapped inside a world where his truth was a crime. The journals describe decades of fake romances, studio-manufactured lies, threats, blackmail, humiliation, and 5 people who kept him locked inside the closet. But among those 5, one name appears again and again, written with heartache, bitterness, and a pain that never healed. The man Tab loved, the man who broke him, the man whose betrayal he never forgave. Before you can understand the betrayal, you must understand the world that created it. Being gay in 1950s, Hollywood wasn't just risky. It wasn't just dangerous. It was impossible, not difficult, not challenging, impossible. One rumor, one whisper could end a career overnight. One photograph could erase a man from Hollywood history. One truth could cost him everything he had ever dreamed of. Tab Hunter entered that world as Arthur Andrew Kelm, born 1931 in New York City, raised poor and ordinary. He wasn't meant for fame. He wasn't groomed for stardom. He was just a 17-year-old kid riding horses in Griffith Park in 1948. When a Hollywood agent spotted him, stared at him like he was a rare gem, and said the words that would change his life forever: "You could be a star." That agent was Henry Wilson, a man with a very specific talent. He didn't just discover actors, he manufactured them. Rock Hudson, Robert Wagner, Guy Madison, and soon Tab Hunter. All Henry Wilson creations, all given new names, new faces, new narratives. And all of them, every single one, were gay. By 1955, Tab Hunter was one of the biggest young stars in America. A teen idol, a music sensation. His hit, Young Love, went to #1. A box office draw with thousands of screaming fans, the perfect boyfriend in every magazine. But it was all built on a lie. In a heartbreaking 1955 journal entry, Tab wrote, "I'm 23. Warner Brothers owns me. Girls write me letters. Magazines call me Hollywood's ideal man. They ask who I date. The truth? I like men. I've always liked men. But I can't say that because it would end everything. Every date was choreographed. Every smile was scripted. Every interview rehearsed. Every photograph arranged. His entire life became a performance inside a performance, playing tab hunter, the all-American dream, while Arthur Kelm slowly suffocated inside the closet Hollywood built for him. And the journals show, page after page, threat after threat, lie after lie, that 5 people kept him imprisoned there. But only one of them would break his heart beyond repair. Henry Wilson wasn't just an agent. He was a kingmaker, the most powerful sculptor of male beauty in 1950s Hollywood. He could take an unknown young man, give him a new name, a new past, a new identity, and sell him to America as the perfect fantasy. But Henry wasn't creating stars, he was creating products. Roy Fitzgerald became Rock Hudson. Merle Johnson became Troy Donahue. Arthur Andrew Kelm became Tab Hunter. Dozens of young men, and almost all of them were gay, just like Henry himself. In the journals, Tab describes Henry with a mixture of gratitude, confusion, and deep resentment. The man who made him famous was also the man who stripped away everything real. In a 1957 entry, Tab wrote, "Henry discovered me, gave me my name, crafted my image, built my career, and erased the real me in the process." Henry Wilson rebuilt Tab from the ground up. Changed his name, changed his background, changed his personality, even coached him on how to walk, how to sit, how to flirt in interviews, and most importantly, how to lie. Henry told him exactly which actresses to be seen with, which restaurants to appear at, and which smiles to flash at photographers. But in private, Henry brought Tab into Hollywood's hidden world, secret parties in the hills, gatherings of closeted actors, whispered conversations, coded glances. For a moment, Tab felt Henry was protecting him, giving him a community, giving him a way to survive. But the truth was darker, much darker. Henry wasn't protecting Tab, he was protecting his investment. According to Tab's journals, Henry arranged favors for powerful industry men, traded access for roles, and controlled every aspect of his clients' lives. If a young actor resisted, Henry had a simple response: "I made you, I own you." And Tab understood that wasn't a metaphor. It was a contract, a cage, a warning. By 1960, Tab wrote, "Henry gets to be himself behind closed doors. The rest of us don't. We're the fantasies he sells, and he sells us piece by piece." But Henry Wilson, as manipulative and predatory as he could be, was only the beginning. The next force in Tab's life was even more terrifying, because they didn't just control his image, they owned his entire existence. Henry Wilson may have created Tab Hunter, but Warner Brothers owned him. In the 1950s, a studio contract wasn't an agreement. It was possession. 7 years, ironclad, unbreakable, and buried deep inside that contract was a single clause: cold, brutal, and deadly. Any behavior that brought a scandal to the studio meant immediate termination. And in 1955, Hollywood, there was no greater scandal than being gay. Tab learned this the hard way. In September 1955, the most vicious tabloid in America, Confidential magazine, got a tip that could destroy him forever. Tab Hunter, before fame, before Warner Brothers, had been arrested at a gay party in 1950. His real name, Arthur Kelm, was on the police report. 26 other men, all gay, all charged, all documented. Confidential planned to publish everything. It would have ended Tab's career instantly. he would have vanished, erased, like so many gay men before him. But Warner Brothers intervened. They didn't do it out of compassion. They did it because Tab Hunter was a multi-million-dollar commodity. The studio paid Confidential a price, a steep, ugly price, to bury the story. And in exchange, Warner Brothers sacrificed other actors' careers to protect their golden boy. And from that moment forward, Tab understood the truth. He belonged to them entirely. In an October 1955 journal entry, Tab wrote, "Warner Brothers saved me, and now they own me, every part of me." Jack Warner himself summoned Tab into his office. Huge desk, closed door, a shark's smile. "We protected you, Tab," Warner said. "It cost us money, relationships, power. Now you repay us." Then came the commands. "Date who we tell you to date. Marry who we tell you to marry. Appear where we tell you to appear. Be the perfect straight American boy, forever. Or we release everything the police report. The photos, the evidence." Warner Brothers didn't threaten Tab Hunter with losing his career. They threatened him with losing his life. For 12 years, every moment of Tab's public existence was scripted. Every date, every smile, every interview, every photograph, every lie he told the world about himself. He wasn't an actor anymore. He was a property. In 1965, when his contract finally ended, he wrote, "I'm legally free, but the closet they built around me, that prison, is permanent. I don't know who I am without it." And yet, as suffocating as Warner Brothers was, they weren't the ones who destroyed Tab emotionally. That honor belonged to someone far more personal, someone who shared his suffering, someone who should have understood, a woman who smiled for cameras, while both of them were breaking inside. By 1956, Warner Brothers decided Tab Hunter needed more than rumors and staged smiles. He needed a girlfriend, a public romance powerful enough to silence any whisper, any suspicion, any truth. They didn't choose just anyone. They chose Natalie Wood. She was 23, already a major star, already America's sweetheart. Beautiful, charming, adored, and just as trapped by the studio system as Tab was. Both of them young, both of them scared, both of them living inside lives that were not their own. Warner Brothers arranged everything, the dinners, the premieres, the photo ops, the magazine spreads. The headlines came instantly. Hollywood's perfect couple, Tab Hunter and Natalie Wood. But inside Tab's private journals, the story was very different. In December 1956, he wrote, "Another date with Natalie. Chasens tonight. Cameras everywhere. We held hands for them, then dropped them the moment they left. They sat across from each other in expensive restaurants, eating food neither wanted, speaking lines neither believed. Natalie knew Tab was gay. Tab knew Natalie loved someone else, a man the studio forbade her from seeing because he wasn't appropriate for her image. Two young stars, both suffocating under the same lie. Tab described one night in heartbreaking detail. Outside, we smiled for the flashbulbs. Inside the car, she broke down. Quiet tears. I can't keep pretending, Tab. I said, I know, but if we stop, they'll destroy us. She asked him a question he never forgot. Do you think we'll ever be free? Tab had no answer, because even then, even at the height of fame, he didn't believe freedom was something people like them could ever have. The fake romance lasted 8 long months. 8 months of a staged affection. 8 months of quiet suffering. 8 months of two young souls losing pieces of themselves with every forced smile. When the studio finally decided they'd squeezed enough publicity from the lie, they ended the arrangement. Just like that. Natalie moved on, though she continued living under the same pressures. Some real romances, some arranged, some hidden. She died in 1981 at just 43 years old, drowning under circumstances still debated today. Tab wrote, "We were both prisoners, both pretending, both breaking. I survived. She didn't. And I'll never know if those months of lies added weight to her tragedy." But as painful as those months were, Natalie was not the person who hurt Tab Hunter the most. That person was someone else. Another star, another gay man, another product of Henry Wilson, who succeeded where Tab failed. The one who played the game better, lied better, hid better, and won. For every closeted actor in Hollywood's golden age, there was one man who stood at the top of the mountain, the standard, the blueprint, the unreachable ideal, Rock Hudson. The man every studio adored, the man every woman fantasized about, the man every gay actor envied and feared becoming. He was handsome, charming, masculine perfection, a Henry Wilson creation just like Tab, but with one crucial difference. Rock played the game better. In the journals, Tab's feelings about Rock are complicated. Envy, frustration, admiration, resentment. Page after page reveals a painful truth. Rock Hudson succeeded not because he was more talented, but because he was more willing to protect the lie. Tab wrote in 1957, "Rock is more flamboyant in private than I ever was, but when the cameras come on, he becomes the fantasy, flawless, straight, untouchable." Rock married Henry Wilson's secretary, Phyllis Gates, in 1955. A studio-arranged marriage everyone in Hollywood recognized as a cover. Tab knew. Henry knew. Most of the industry knew. But the public? They believed every second of it. The marriage lasted just long enough to cement Rock's heterosexual image, and only then quietly dissolved. Tab never took that step. He dated women publicly, yes, but he could never bring himself to marry one, could never commit to the lie on that level, and Hollywood punished him for it. As Rock rose to superstardom, Doris Day films, romantic comedies, magazine covers by the dozens, Tab watched his own career begin to fade. In a 1960 journal entry dripping with heartbreak, Tab wrote, "Rock is the biggest star in the world. I'm doing TV westerns. My film career is slipping away because I wouldn't bury Arthur Kelm deep enough. Did I choose integrity or did I choose failure?" Rock Hudson's lie worked. For decades, he remained one of Hollywood's most beloved leading men until the end of his life, even as Tab Hunter struggled to reclaim the spotlight. When Rock died in 1985 from AIDS, the truth of his sexuality finally became public, a truth he had spent a lifetime hiding. Tab wrote, "Rock got everything, fame, success, longevity, but he paid for it with silence. Did he win, or did he lose more than all of us?" But even Rock, the man Tab envied, admired, and quietly resented, was not the person who inflicted the deepest wound. There was one name that appeared in almost every journal entry across 6 decades. One man who shaped Tab Hunter's life more than anyone else. Not Henry Wilson, not Jack Warner, not Rock Hudson, not Natalie Wood. No, the person Tab loved, the person Tab hated, the person who could have given him the life he always wanted and instead shattered him, Anthony Perkins. November 14th, 1956, a quiet house in the Hollywood Hills. A secret gathering known only to those who lived double lives, those who spoke in half-truths, those who understood the danger of simply being themselves. This was where Tab Hunter met Anthony Perkins for the very first time. Tony was 24, Tab was 25, two rising stars, two frightened young men, two actors forced to smile for an audience that could never know who they really were. They talked for 4 hours, not Hollywood talk, not industry talk, but the kind of talk that strips a person down to their core: fear, loneliness, exhaustion, hope, and a strange immediate connection neither of them expected. The next morning, Tab wrote in his journal, "Tony sees me, not Tab Hunter, not the teen idol. He sees Arthur, and no one has seen Arthur in years." Tab fell fast, completely, hopelessly. They began seeing each other in secret, avoiding cameras, avoiding crowds, avoiding the world that demanded they lie. For 3 years, Tony Perkins was the only real love Tab Hunter ever had. The journal entries from this period read differently: fuller, warmer, sometimes almost glowing. 1957, he stayed the night. We talked about leaving Hollywood, Europe maybe, somewhere quiet, somewhere safe, somewhere we could be ourselves. Tab believed him, every word. But then came Psycho in 1960, a film that made Anthony Perkins not just famous, but iconic. And fame in Hollywood meant scrutiny. Scrutiny meant danger. Danger meant fear. Everything changed. Journal entry, 1962. Tony is distant, months of excuses. I finally asked, "Are we okay?" He said, "It's too dangerous now, Tab. Too dangerous to love me. Too dangerous to be seen with me. Too dangerous to choose us." Tab felt him slipping away, not to another man, but to something far worse: the closet itself. Then, in 1973, Tab read the headline that shattered him: Anthony Perkins marries Barry Berenson. He didn't hear it from Tony, he heard it from a newspaper. The journal entry that day was a storm of rage, heartbreak, disbelief. He married her. After everything, he married a woman. He chose the lie. He chose the easy path. He called me tonight. I didn't answer at first. When Tab finally picked up, Tony whispered, "Please, let me explain." Tab asked the only question that mattered: was I not worth the risk? Silence. A long, terrible silence. Then Tony said, "I'm not as brave as you. I need the cover. I need to appear normal." Tab hung up. He never spoke to him again. Anthony Perkins lived the rest of his life playing the role of husband and father. Perfect performance. Perfect lie. When Tony died of AIDS on September 12, 1992, closeted to the very end, Tab wrote, "I couldn't go to the funeral. We were never allowed to be real in life, and we couldn't be real in death." And yet, in later years, Tab confessed, "He was the man I loved most and the man I hated most, not because he chose the lie, but because he chose it over us." But Tony wasn't the final person Tab blamed. There was still one more left, the one who carried the heaviest guilt, the one whose name appeared even more than Tony's: himself. After 6 decades of hiding, after losing lovers, friends, opportunities, after watching entire generations of gay men erased by a silence, Tab Hunter finally admitted something in his journals that no one expected. The last person he blamed was himself. He had spent years raging at Henry Wilson, at Warner Brothers, at Rock Hudson, at Natalie Wood, at Anthony Perkins. But late in life, older, quieter, wiser, he began to see the truth with devastating clarity. Journal entry, 1985, the year Rock Hudson died. Fear killed him long before AIDS did. Fear of being discovered, fear of losing everything. I'm 54. I've been in the closet for 37 years, and I'm realizing something terrible. I could have left at any time. It wasn't that Tab thought the consequences wouldn't have been real. He knew he would have been blacklisted. He knew the studios would have abandoned him. He knew the newspapers would have devoured him. But he also knew this: I chose the career. I chose the fame. I chose the lie. Not because he wanted to lie, but because he was young, scared, hungry for success, and convinced that being gay meant losing everything. He wrote, I blame Henry, I blame Warner Brothers, I blame Rock, I blame Tony, but the truth, I blame myself the most. I let Tab Hunter kill Arthur Kelm. For decades, Tab lived as a man split in two, the public idol and the private ghost, and he realized, painfully, that no amount of fame could make up for the years of authenticity he had sacrificed. But something changed in 2005. Tab was 74, long past his career peak, long past the studio system, long past the era that kept him in fear. Almost everyone from his Hollywood circle was gone. Rock was gone. Tony was gone. Natalie was gone. Henry was gone. The executives were gone. With no one left to hurt, no one left to shame, no one left to judge, Tab finally did what he had been unable to do for 57 years. He came out publicly, proudly, honestly. Journal entry 2005. I came out today. The world didn't collapse. People shrugged, said they assumed, said it didn't matter. I waited 57 years for a fear that wasn't there anymore. He wrote with both relief and heartbreak. Brave would have been coming out in 1955. I came out when it was safe, when almost everyone I loved was dead. I wish I could tell Tony, I understand now, I forgive you, and I hope someday I can forgive myself. This confession, raw, unguarded, agonizing, was the clearest sign of who Tab Hunter truly was. A man who survived an era that should never have existed, who lost the great love of his life to fear, and who finally, painfully reclaimed the truth that Hollywood stole from him. But the story isn't over. There's still one final chapter, one last journal entry, one final heartbreaking reflection as Tab Hunter faced the end of his life and realized what truly mattered and what truly didn't. By the time Tab Hunter reached his mid-80s, he had outlived almost everyone who shaped, molded, loved, controlled, or betrayed him. The studios, the agents, the magazines, the fake romances, the whispered rumors, the fear, all of it belonged to another century. And at last, after a lifetime of hiding, Tab experienced something he had only dreamed of in his youth: peace. After coming out publicly in 2005, Tab allowed himself to live honestly for the first time. He found real companionship, real comfort, real home, not in Hollywood, but in the quiet, steady love of his partner, Alan Glazer, the man who stood beside him for 35 years. For the first time in 57 years, Tab Hunter lived without pretending. No studio instructions, no staged dates, no magazine lies, no fear of exposure, just truth. In one of his final journal entries, written only months before his death in 2018, Tab confronted his life with aching honesty. The doctors say I have months left. I think about the choices I made, the people I lost, the years I wasted. Was it worth it? Some days, yes, I made movies. I made people happy. That means something. Other days, no, I lost Tony. I lost Arthur. I lost myself. Yet even in that sorrow, Tab found gratitude. I finally found love, finally found honesty, finally found peace. Too late, but I found it. Then came the words that echo like a warning and a benediction. If I could tell my younger self anything, I would say, come out early, come out loudly, come out before fear eats your life away. The career isn't worth the closet. The fame isn't worth the fear. Nothing is worth losing yourself. Tab Hunter lived 13 honest years at the end of his life, just 13 years out of 86. But to him, those years mattered more than all the fame, all the box office hits, all the headlines from his youth. He wrote, Anthony Perkins got 0, Rock Hudson got 0, I got 13, and I'm grateful. When Tab Hunter died in 2018, he died not as a studio creation, not as a manufactured idol, not as a frightened young man hiding in the shadows, but as both Tab Hunter and Arthur Kelm, whole, complete, free. In the end, the man he had hated for decades, Anthony Perkins, became someone he finally understood, forgave, even mourned, because the true enemy was never Tony, never Rock, never Natalie, never Henry, never the studio executives. The true enemy was the era, the system, the fear, a fear so powerful it robbed thousands of men of the chance to love, to live, to be themselves. Tab Hunter's story is a warning, a memorial, a plea, and a victory, a reminder of how far we've come, and a promise never to return to the darkness that once destroyed so many. Try not to gasp, try not to cry, try not to forget, because stories like Tab Hunter's must never be buried again.